So, welcome to my review for Escape from New York, the John Carpenter classic starring Kurt Russell, Lee Van Cleef, Harry Dean Stanton and Isaac Hayes. Now, before I begin this review today, I want to introduce you to an acquaintance of mine. They call him Jacob, but I'm going to call him Jacob. And as you can see, he's a very shy chappy at the moment, but I'm pretty sure when we get him back inside, I'll get him to say a few words to the camera, maybe some rude ones at that. Uh-oh, he's giving me the stare. Uh-oh. I wonder what would happen if I just go in a bit closer. Now, in case you haven't seen Escape from New York, what? Are you insane? You haven't watched it? Well, don't watch this video. Go and rent the film or pirate it. Do what you need to do. Watch the movie, because you'll be getting video game vibes when you watch this film. You'll be thinking to yourself, where have I seen that character of Snake Plissken before? Well, of course, I'll get to that later on, but let's just say this character is a bit of a big deal where video games are concerned and a bit of a pop culture icon. But this will be the first collaboration between Russell and John Carpenter. Their three other films would be The Thing, which is an amazing movie anyway. Then you've got Big Trouble in Little China. And then finally, you've got Escape from LA, which was the sequel to this film. And I might review that film in future because people do rain upon it, but I do think it's got its fun moments, that's for sure. So what do I tell you about this particular film? Why should you watch it? Well, the premise is pretty awesome, actually. So Kurt Russell plays Snake Plissken, but you can call him Snake or Plissken, depending on what mood he's actually in at the time of engaging his attention.
We'd make one hell of a team, Snake.
The name's Plissken.
But it's quite funny actually at the beginning of this film where they do have to call his services in to rescue the president, as played by Englishman Donald Pleasance. Now I've got to say one thing quickly about Donald Pleasance. He does try his best to put on an American accent. It is quite passable, but you know, Pleasance is one of these actors, he's old school. He was just taught to speak the lines, to read them with conviction and emotion, not to learn different regional accents. So I've got to forgive him for that, but you know what? He gave it a good try and he wasn't that half bad. But like I was saying, Kurt Russell is being led into this secret facility where he's about to meet Lee Van Cleef, who plays Hulk. And it's quite funny because he's got this little parade of people standing either side of him. And there's one particular person that kind of gives him the fanboy eyes, like he knows about Snake's reputation. I thought that was a really funny moment and I've never actually noticed it before. So that was actually quite cool. And yeah, basically the plot is the president has been kidnapped by this crazy gang of people led by the Duke, played by Isaac Hayes, and I'll get to him in a minute as well. And he's got less than 24 hours to get in and get out and bring the president back home safe and dry, like a touchdown. Just imagine it as a football game. But there's one condition that Snake has to abide by these rules that Huck has set him. But unbeknownst to Snake, until it's too late, he's been injected with an explosive capsule into his arteries. So if he doesn't return within 24 hours, basically there'll be no more summit meeting for the president and no more Snake Plissken. And it's a really, really awesome movie. I think John Carpenter has taken his influences from films like The Warriors, and definitely the DNA of one of Carpenter's earlier films, Assault on Precinct 13 from 1976, where he's just taken those elements and he's infused them into this particular film. One thing that is a trademark of John Carpenter's films is that he actually composes the music as well. And in this case, he's teamed up with a colleague called Alan Howarth, and they've actually made a very memorable score. If you can get it on CD, I highly recommend it because it's just really, really good. The theme tune to this particular movie is awesome. But Isaac Hayes, yeah, you know him as the chef in the South Park cartoon series, but here he plays the Duke, a guy so cool, so menacing that he drives around town at night in sunglasses. It kind of reminds me of that Corey Hart song. But yeah, he is just all kinds of awesome. Is he the biggest, baddest villain ever that I've seen on screen? Not really. He's actually quite underutilized. It is more about Snake and his mission to get the president out of his evil clutches. But I gotta say, man, Snake is such a badass in this film. Like at one point when Snake is just topless, he has got a tattoo of a cobra underneath his chest, he just looks so badass. And of course, the eye patch and the growly voice, you could say it's based on Clint Eastwood, but the eye patch was Kurt Russell's idea. Now, of course, that whole look would inspire Hideo Kojima, the Japanese video game developer, to create Big Boss, Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid, the guy played by David Hayter. So, and the funny thing is as well, Hideo Kojima at one point wanted to bring Kurt Russell in to voice that character, but Kurt declined. I guess that wasn't his cup of tea, but we got David Hayter in the end, and I can't complain. But one thing I've got to say about this collaboration with John Carpenter and Kurt Russell, which I really like, I wonder if Carpenter should have taken more chances in casting Russell in some of his earlier films. So, for example, Donald Pleasence plays Detective Loomis in the Halloween movie with Jamie Lee Curtis in 1978. Can you imagine swapping the roles where you've had Kurt Russell playing Loomis? I think he would have brought a nice depth and dimension to that role. I'm not saying that Donald Pleasence didn't do that, but it would have been an entirely different film if you had Kurt Russell acting against Jamie Lee Curtis. I think that would have been an awesome dynamic, but sadly we won't get to live that dream. We can just think about it as I've just ingested that into your psyche. And at one point, Pliskin goes up against a wrestler who's probably the love child of Ming the Merciless and Zangief from Street Fighter. I know he wasn't around at that period in time, but just, hear me out here. Now, if they do a remake for this particular film, there's only one actor who could actually play him. If you've seen Wyatt Russell in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where he played John Walker, that Captain America, I think he's perfect to be in a reboot. They are thinking about doing a reboot. I don't know if it's still going ahead, but you got to get Wyatt Russell because he is perfect. He looks like his dad. He sounds like his dad. He's got his traits, so there's no issue there. It will actually form great continuity. And given how the action, action is tackled by Hollywood today, no more Paul Greengrass shaky edits. It's all more focused, more technical. I think we can get a really good reboot, a good reworking of this particular film, because let's face it, when you do watch Escape from New York again, it is a bit rough around the edges, but it's got its charm. Also, I should point out that you do see Kurt Russell's soon-to-be ex-wife in this film. Her name is Susan Hubley, and there's quite a funny joke that runs throughout the movie about characters who see Snake and think he's dead, but he's kind of popped out of nowhere, and it's kind of a good running gag. I will say as well, if you want to buy the Blu-ray version of this, that might have had a bit of collateral damage along the bottom. I don't know why that's happened, but the one by Shout Factory is the best Blu-ray transfer, so if you can get this, and although it says it's region A on here, it actually plays in all regions from what I remember, but I've got a PlayStation 3 from Japan, so it worked for me on that one. But yeah, nice cover, fantastic transfer. I've heard the 4K version doesn't do that film any justice. So Escape from New York, have you seen this movie yet? If not, why not? Leave a comment below and let me know. Now, what would I give this film out of 5 hot dogs? Well, I can only be true to myself and give it 4 out of 5 hot dogs. That's as good as it gets. So did you like this quick snappy review for Escape from New York? If so, leave a comment below and I will see you on my next video for Kung Fu Hot Dog. So welcome to my review for, oh my god, this is so Freddy